Heard too many times that African Americans believe that we Africans look down upon them when we come to this country, that we think we're better than them. It's false. I'll tell you, based on knowledge. It's false. Totally false. When we were young in Africa, we worshipped African Americans.
Do Africans want to be like African Americans? The answer is yes. Now, I was going through my Google Photos recently and come and see the things I found. This is specimen 1. This is the first example I found. I had to ask myself, why were we dressed like this? The only reason I could think of was because for the past how many years we had been watching 106 and Park. This is the influence. Is that not T.I. on the right? Is that not T.I.? My boy, his name is Toby. That's why are we dressed like fake chains? But we did not give a fuck. We wanted to be like you guys. Many of us in this picture had never even stepped out of Nigeria before. But why are we dressed like this? So if any African ever comes to you telling you nonsense, just tell them to shut up, because this is the truth. We wanted to be like you guys. You guys are cool as fuck. So
hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube space. Now, I'm so grateful to have you all here because you are just amazing, and what you are doing to me is just amazing. Watching my videos, reacting, commenting and liking is just amazing. So in this video, I'm going to talk about issue between Africans and African Americans, Africans and Black Americans. Now, there's a lot of stories going on that Africans don't love African Americans, or Africans don't respect African Americans. But there's a guy here, I'm going to play this video. He's an African and he's saying that it is all lie. Okay, it is all lie, and I found it being a good video because listen to him and I agree. Yeah, it's a lie. This stereotype that we don't love Black Americans, of course there is some Africans who they are like that, they don't love Black Americans, but in the general, let's think about the positive only, because we may have 80% positive of Africans loving Black Americans, but let's not focus on the 20% that are ruining the relationship between Black Americans and Africans. Now, I want you to listen to this video. After listening, I want you to come back here, we react, we talk about it, okay? And I'm waiting for you on the comment section to talk something. Let's listen to this.
African Americans are telling me in my comments, because I'm not from here, I don't have the right to speak about them. We use this occasion to address it. I wanted to make it into a whole episode. I've heard too many times that African Americans believe that we Africans look down upon them when we come to this country, that we think we're better than them. It's false. I'll tell you, based on knowledge. It's false. Totally false. When we were young in Africa, we worshipped African Americans. Yes. We changed our names to African Americans. My friends in school were called Jim Brown, Black Moses. I was called Superfly.
Okay.
Yes.
Go King.
Blacks in Africa, the barbershop, we go to barbershop until blacks started wearing afro, and we stopped and we started wearing afro. We blacks hated our own fabric, the dashiki, until African Americans made it popular in the 70s, and we all started wearing it back. As a case, I had his albums. Yes. We've watched all the movies. Kool-Aid High, TNT Jackson, A Hell Up in Harlem, Detroit 9000, Truck Turner, you name it. And then we go home and we're trying to practice how they speak and all that. Really? That was when we were in Africa. Ask any African who went through the 60s and 70s. They'll tell you, oh, we love them. Maya Angelou moved to Ghana. And she was like a sister. 14 years she lived in Ghana. Her son had an accident and broke his leg and arm in Ghana. African Americans are telling me in my comments, because I'm not from here, I don't have the right to speak about them. Do you know W.E.B. Du Bois? Do you know where he died? He died in Ghana, was buried in Ghana, and Nkrumah built a center for Pan-African studies. He came to Africa, the first black PhD holder from Harvard, W.E.B. He came to Ghana, Africa, to tell us that our best way is to be Pan-Africanist. We listened to him. We didn't tell him, who are you to come from the United States and tell us what to do? There's a guy called Kwame Ture. He was formerly called Stokely Carmichael. He's the one who came up with Black Power, Black Power. Do you know where he is right now? In Guinea, in Africa, with pistols on his hip. When you go into my comments, African Americans are saying, I don't know anything about them. Hear me. Know you, the African Americans, more than you know yourself. Why? Because I am coming from the place where they brought you from. So when I got here and I looked at you, I see too much of us in you, and that's why we stay away from you.
That's very true. We see too much of us in African Americans. Of course, this guy is speaking from 17th, where Africans adored Black Americans so much. And even at my time, at 2000s, in school, we adored African Americans so much. So this narrative that we don't love Black Americans, I think it's wrong. It's wrong because like the way he have just said, a lot of African Americans are in the comment section telling him that he has no right to speak about them. The same situation happening to me, telling me that I should not speak about African Americans, but we love you and we have been there. We have been loving you since. Now, I want you to watch these videos again and then we'll come back again and talk about it.
Do Africans want to be like African Americans? The answer is yes. I was going through my Google photos recently and come and see the things I found. This is specimen 1. This is the first example I found. I had to ask myself, why were we dressed like this? The only reason I could think of was because for the past how many years we had been watching 106 and Park. This is the influence. Is that not T.I. on the right? Is that not T.I., my boy? His name is Toby. That's why are we dressed like fake chains? But we did not give a fuck. We wanted to be like you guys. Many of us in this picture had never even stepped out of Nigeria. But why are we dressed like this? So if any African ever comes to you telling you nonsense, just tell them to shut up, because this is the truth. We wanted to be like you guys. You guys are cool as fuck, so don't be listening to anybody else. Thank you.
As an African living in the United States, I used to share the same sentiment that Africans share about African Americans, because I had a hard time when I first moved here. People used to always tell me, you're not black enough, you're an Oreo, you're secretly white on the inside, as if I wasn't literally from Africa. I now understand after living here for 8 years that black in the United States is a very specific criteria, and anything outside of that just doesn't fit. But I want to help African Americans understand that Africans coming to the United States are immigrants, first and foremost. Then they are Nigerian or Senegalese or whatever country they're from. And then at some point, they are black. But Africans don't put black high up on their identity well, as much as African Americans do. And that is for legitimate reasons on both ends. And so when an African is coming to the United States, they're thinking to themselves, okay, I'm an immigrant here. I have to do my best for myself and my family back home. The sacrifices that took for me to get here were no light work, okay? So I need to really align myself with what's going to make me successful in this country. And because it's the United States, it's the dominant culture, which is white American culture. And so Africans are going to instinctively ally themselves with the culture that's going to give them the most success. I mean, African Americans even admit that they have to code switch to be successful here, because that's what brings success. And so Africans are like, all right, we'll do that. And it also doesn't help that for a long time, Africans are fed a very negative view of Black American culture, and that's its own propaganda. But because Africans are so conservative and they're coming to a country where Black Americans have been labeled as the antithesis to this conservative traditional family values, they have, if anything, more in common with Southern Baptist white racist people. But that aside, going back to identity markers, Black Americans put Black first and foremost, and then everything else goes below it. And so they're thinking when another Black people come to our country, they're going to want to integrate with us, the other Black people, because Black comes first. And they get quickly disappointed in realizing that for Africans, Black and the identity and that coming is not first. Their immigrant identity comes first, and then their country. And if anything, for us as Africans to feel like that's my brother, that's my brethren, or whatever, you have to come from the same tribe as us, because we have so many Black people around, we don't automatically pre-select for Black. But Black Americans don't have so many Black people around, have had to defend and protect their culture amidst a dominant white culture, and so they already pre-select and are overprotective for Black. And so that's why I think at the core of it, there's a deep misunderstanding because of not realizing that we put like where we put our identity markers and what we put first and what we prioritize are so different culturally because of our differences in trauma, realistically. And so it does make sense that Black Americans will be like, oh, my people, my brethrens come here, and African Americans, or Africans, sorry, coming to the United States are like, I'm just trying to make it here. Like, it's a lot of work to immigrate to the United States. And so y'all can stay over there, and I can see why it's hurtful, and I can see why it's taken personally, and I can see the deep misunderstanding and the betrayal that African Americans feel. But it's unfortunate, and that's just a reality. But if we can talk about it from this perspective, I think we can get to a better understanding. But I also believe that Africans that spend enough time in the United States get to this compassion and understanding of the Black American community, because it is a very unique and specific set of circumstances for a culture to grow and to develop.
Welcome back. Now, I remember when I was in school back then in 2000s, and because I came out of my Form 4 secondary school in 2013, but from 2013 backward we were together in school, and my fellow students were so much obsessed with Black American style. I remember we used to even try to talk like Black Americans, like, yo, what are you saying, man? Yo, nigga, those words. So we used to even copy how Black Americans are speaking. And this man who I've just spoken here, he has reminded me of a lot of things we adored about Black Americans. And one of the things is how the language, how you talk. The language of, you could find my peers in school trying to talk like Black Americans, because we have seen in movies. And in 2002, there's African Americans had captured Africa with their music. Okay, we listen to your music. We listen to Beyonce. Beyonce is being loved here. Beyonce has dominated, like pop and R&B with his hits like, In Love, Crazy in Love, and Single Ladies. So, and you could find Africans vibing so much on it. Jay-Z, Kanye West, 50 Cent, everyone in Africa dripping like 50 Cent, dripping like Jay-Z, and we have been watching films like, I'm talking about my time now, Will Smith, Denzel Washington. You could find people calling themselves, I'm Denzel Washington, Taylor Perry, Halle Berry, I don't know if it's Halle Berry or Halle Berry, and Dave Campbell. And we have been watching Black American movies, and we have been loving it, I remember a movie called, it's called what? Man on Fire. Man on Fire. The movie for Denzel Washington was being loved, American Gangster. So, and even how Black Americans have been dripping your clothes. You could find Africans trying to do like that. A lot of our clothing, a lot of what we wear, we have been influenced by Black Americans. If we talk about footwear, Timberland have been so trendy in Africa, so trendy in Kenya, and it came from where? It came from Black Americans, Air Force Ones, it came from Black Americans, if I'm not wrong. So Timberland, Air Force One, you could find in an area, like you are meeting 10 people, 9 of them are wearing Timberland or Air Force One, and it was influenced by Black Americans. Jordans, it was influenced by Black American, and you could find everyone in Africa trying to wear these footwears, try to be like that, to wear the Websters. So it's crazy how right now we are being fed by this history of, okay, no, Black don't respect you. No, of course, as I said earlier, there is some Black Americans who, of course, they are talking ill about African Americans, but it's only 10 or 20% of Africans. And we cannot put everyone in the same bucket and decide that, Africans don't love us. If I talk about Black American, I have a genuine reason. I have my own reason. Of course, you may think about some reasons, but I have my own reason. And my own reason is about Pan-Africanism. It's about unity. Because I've been preaching unity. Now, when I started my YouTube channel, I started doing interviews asking Kenyans what they think about African countries. And my aim was to unite African countries, everyone to know each country, you know, to be, and we made a history having fan base from Ghana, South Africa, Nigeria, Somalia, Ethiopia, Eritrea. I had fan base. If you go on my TikTok account, I have fan base from all these. I united all these countries from Africa. If I'm wrong, tell me in the comment section. After that, I decided talking about Caribbean. You know, those Africans who have stereotypes about Caribbean, we talked about that. We tried Caribbean food. We tried Jamaican cuisine. We tried the ram, you know. And it was one way of uniting Jamaicans and Africans through my YouTube space. And they knew a lot. And my African people, they knew a lot about Jamaicans too and Caribbeans. And they did away with the stereotypes, okay? After that, I went to Black Americans. Okay, of course, it's not only Black Americans who are saying don't talk on my channel. Even some of Nigerians say talk about what is happening in Kenya. Some of South Africans say don't talk about South Africa. But I am a Pan-African, and these videos I've just played you is to show you that as long as you say that we don't love you, but we have some percentage that shows very well that we love you. Okay, when you talk about hip-hop streetwear, Africans who are wearing these streetwear trends have been influenced by Black Americans. You know, the baggy jeans, oversized tees. You could find people wearing these oversized t-shirts, you know, and baggy jeans. And it was inspired by hip-hop culture. When you talk about brands like Rosswear, Sim John, and Echo made oversized fit popular. You know, St. John made oversized fit popular. Now, when you talk about tall tees, you know, like extra long, white, and colorful t-shirts, were a must-have for you to rock, you know, especially it was influenced by Southern hip-hop, okay? Southern hip-hop scenes. Now, streetwear, something like tracksuit. Tracksuit was influenced to Africans by Black Americans. When you talk about bandanas, you know, let me show you the bandanas. Let me show you this. When you talk about these bandanas, you could find some people putting these bandanas on their head like this, and you know, like these ones. It was influenced by Black Americans, if I'm not wrong, to Africans. So right now, Africans, you could see them wearing these bandanas, and it wasn't our wear as men's, you know, like you could not find a man wearing a bandana here, but it was worn. Now it's being worn under fitted caps or alone. It's become a symbol of hip hop culture, and it was trendy to Africa too. So we have a lot of things that we borrowed from African Americans, and we adored, not borrowed, we adored, we loved because of the culture. You know, the luxury designs like Gucci, Louis Vuitton. Black Americans love those things, and you could see Africans, they are going for it. So we loved it, and like it is something that has shaped the culture of Africans too. Even women's fashion, when you talk about baby part tracksuits, when you talk about apple bottom jeans, you know, hoop earrings and bamboo earrings, when you talk about crop tops, these came from Black Americans, you know, and it has shaped how African people wear them clothes. So we love you. Just the few cracks here and there, and the supremacy or the oppressors are using these cracks to make sure that we ain't getting along with each other. They will tell you, oh, they are like this and like that, but there is love between. We have been following Black Americans for so long. We have my time, the movies, the language, like the slang, talking like Black Americans. Yo, you could find people here trying to yo man, you know, man, like, and dapping, walking in a, you dap, you walking like, yeah, like this, the swag. Man, this came from Black Americans, and Africans have been adoring this. They have been loving this. And so we have a number of things that shows that Africans really love Black Americans. And when we look at Black Americans, when I look at Black Americans, I see myself more, because I see this as my brother who is away. I'm trying to make my brother understand that after our father did this to you, me as your cousin, I still love you. So we don't need to buy this. When we continue to buy this story or this stereotype, when you continue to buy this disunity, when you continue to enlarge this crack between us, it is just getting messy and we won't survive. Of course, some black Americans will say, we have been fighting for so long in America, you don't know nothing about us, you know, like. But at the end of the day, as a person, as a tree, you need to have the roots, and the roots is here in Africa. Of course, you have put branches in America, these countries, but where's the roots? You are strong because you have the roots. Okay, so we as Africans, personally, I'm talking to the Africans who love African Americans. We love watching African Americans black movies. You know, we love your music, the hip hop. You could find people wearing 50 Cent chains, Jay-Z. They could know a song by a song. So it is evident that as far as some Africans, they don't adore black Americans, as I know that's true. But to most part of us, we love you guys. That is the reality. So I don't know. Tell me in the comment section what do you think about this. But at the end of the day, unity is all that we need. Okay? Until next episode, peace out.